Now, generally, when you think about voodoo, witches, zombies, you think about the southern part of the United States. You think about Louisiana. Well, here in Idaho, we have a little bit of that Louisiana Cajun flavor here at BJs Bayou. Join us tonight as Mysterious Destinations investigates BJs Bayou here in Roberts, Idaho. And let's see if we can't find a little bit of that Louisiana voodoo magic tonight. By the way, you know they have live gators in there.
Yeah, this building has been everything in its lifetime. The only thing we can't prove at any given point is that it was a church or a bank. You had the emergency hospital was in here for a large number of years. It was a high-class hotel when it was built. It was a vagrant hotel when it actually last ran. But it had the post office, the barber shop, Southeast Idaho's first telephone exchange was in here. So, you know, the history on this building is so huge, which is one of the reasons it's still standing. When they condemned it in '76 after the Teton flood, they were going to knock it down. And they got permission to save it because of its such core history to this section of Idaho that they did manage to save it, which is a nice thing for all of us.
So Scott and I did the initial interviews in Roberts, Idaho with the owners of BJs Bayou. Our first initial impressions was that it was a really interesting building. The restaurant has a voodoo, Louisiana Cajun type theme. And so when you walk in and you see those alligators, it really makes an impression. BJ's Bayou was a really neat place. I mean, it has a ton of history. I guess it's been everything from a bank to maybe even a church and now a restaurant. But walking through there, I could just really feel energy. I mean, if there's any place that was haunted, BJ's has to be, because it just feels and looks like a haunted location.
We got into the building in 1995 is when we bought it, and it had been vacant for about 4 years prior to that. The building is 118 as of this year. It's 2 years younger than the state of Idaho. And when we got into it, she was almost totally destroyed. That section was some massive repair work. It took us actually 10 years to get to the finish work in the building, and that's where we deal with 90% of the problems we have with the spooks. When we got in and had to gut out that part of the section, they stole tools, and it was kind of funny in the beginning because you would come in during the day, work on the building. When you left at night, you didn't think anything of it. But when we come back the next morning, all the tools would be sitting out in the backyard. And we were working on it in the winter, so it was an entertaining concept to go out to the tools with no footsteps around them, sitting on top of the snow.
At BJ's Bayou, John and I interviewed the owner's daughter. Now, she claims to be sensitive to a lot of the entities in the building. In fact, she even claims that she has conversations and continuing conversations with some of the entities. Now, at SEPIO, we don't have any psychics and we haven't worked with any yet, but we try and be open-minded. And it was really interesting to talk and to get a perspective of someone that believes they're in direct contact on a daily basis with these entities.
The first ghost I saw was when I was 4 years old. We just barely moved here. There were 2 women and 2 preteen kids, and they were talking to me. I went home and told my mom about them, and she's like, "Oh, it's just a kid's imagination." And then she asked what they were wearing, and I told her that I saw a lady in the white blouse and a big gingham skirt. Gingham's not a word we use anymore, so she was surprised that a 4-year-old knew it. The experience that was like the changing point in my life, I was 8 years old, it was Valentine's Day, and we had a big microburst come through Idaho Falls, Blackfoot, you know, power's out everywhere. And we had a spirit, he was telling me bedtime stories, and I went and told my grandmother that. Grandmother said that ghosts aren't real. Came back about 20 minutes later to my grandmother to tell her that the ghost had told me, come with me now, and everybody else will join us later. And that freaked my grandmother out.
As for the ghost, like I said, we have so many of them, and in all honesty, I think this building is kind of a pathway that they have to, and they don't necessarily have to take, but we have a really tall one that shows up every once in a while, and he wasn't here in the beginning, but he's gone now. So I think for anybody who's ever, I can't say ever been in here, but I think for a lot of the older people in the area, if there's an issue that they're still here, I think they come through here to go on, whether it's because we can tell them to go on or because there's a spook here who can send them on. I don't know, but we get a lot of different instances where you'll have one show up in a suit jacket, and he's just here for a day, and then you never see him again. So I don't know if they're actually still here, or if they came in to say goodbye, or if, you know, so it's kind of an odd building in that manner, because you'll get a move through where you'll have one, and then a couple of weeks later you'll have somebody else. And you know, we have the core ones that we see, or we don't necessarily see them all, but that the customers see on a regular basis. So we know they're still here. But you have the ones that move through where it's like, okay, something happened, or maybe they're finishing their journey, and I don't know. It's kind of an odd.
When John and I were at BJs Bayou, it really helped us develop some of our theories. Not only do the owners of BJs Bayou claim that it's haunted, but they also see it as a vortex or a portal to that other world, whatever that may be. They have some ghosts that they claim they see all the time, but at other times they even have said that they've had ghosts come in, maybe only stay a week or a day, and then they just simply move on. And so it's really kind of a transient place where we have lots of different spirits coming in and out. And really made it interesting because it makes you think you don't really know what to expect when you go in there.
Because this was the actual hotel, you know, when it was first built, this was your hotel space. You have back here, which is my office now, we had a Chinaman in the building, and he was stabbed in that room. And you can hear about 2 o'clock in the morning, and it doesn't matter what time of the year, I can't tell you what time of the year that generally happens. But you'll hear the trunk go down the stairs late at night.
So John and I had gone to BJ's Bayou to do the initial walkthrough and also some initial interviews with the owners. As we sat down with them and began to interview them, I felt almost like something grabbed me and pulled me backwards. I was the one at the camera, and I actually almost fell backwards. I had to put my foot in back of me to catch my fall. And luckily I didn't fall, but it really was a strange experience, and it's kind of hard to explain how it felt. It was just almost a pressure on my back that was almost pulling me backwards.
Is he okay?
I heard it. Okay, never mind.
This is that's actually funny. We had a TV crew in here, and we were doing it up here, and this is only like the second time we've ever done it up here. But he got the cameraman. I don't know which one it was. I don't know, but one of them got the cameraman. So I'm sorry.
And I was looking through the camera when all of a sudden I distinctly felt somebody come and touch me on my hand right here. When I kind of had my hand on the table, and when I felt it, and it was multiple times, it wasn't like that, it was multiple times. Somebody touched me like twice doing this. I pulled my hand back and I was like, something just touched me. And Cheryl just kind of laughed about it. After I felt somebody touch my hand, I was like, oh, what was that? Was it just my skin feeling weird? What was it? And so we continued filming, and probably within 15 seconds of the initial contact on this hand, the entity or whatever it was went around to my other side and touched me in the exact same place, the exact same way, except for on this hand. I really believe that the entity, or whoever it was, if it was Sam, the ghost, he was letting us know of his presence. Cheryl had told us to expect Sam to let us know that he was there. And she was right. Both Scott and I had very, very unique experiences.
She would come in and say, you know, I just seen so-and-so. Are you okay now?
Someone just touched my hand.
It wasn't me. I'm sitting over here.
Must like us or something. Just touched my other hand now.
Well, I told you this was the most active room. You guys want to come over here with me?
All right.
And that's I've never had any of the customers tell me that the ghosts have approached them, except for we have a female in our men's room, and she's pretty vicious. She's actually ran off customers, and it's kind of tough because the two guys that I know she's gone after are both wife beaters. And that seems to be her MO, is if you have hit your wife or beat your wife or your girlfriend, that's who she goes after. And she'll run them right out. I mean, I've had the first one left a full drink on the bar, and he hasn't been in the building in 12 years.
The bathroom was the creepiest part of the whole building. When me and Lisa, we first went into the ladies' bathroom trying to see if we could get some kind of egging something on to see. We turned the light off, we said a few things, and at that point in time I kind of thought maybe I didn't want to say the things we did, but then we went into the men's bathroom. I was standing very close to Lisa, right behind her, because it was a very eerie feeling going in. Lisa said something was breathing on her face. I said, I'm right here next to you, which I thought it was me, and it was on the other side of her. Neither one of us went very far into the bathroom. I just didn't feel very welcome into the bathroom. We stood very close together the whole time, and then both at the same time we got this overwhelming feeling we both needed to leave the bathroom. So we exited the bathroom, and as we're going down the hallway, we looked at each other and started to talk, and it was like we were being pushed right out of the hallway. That overwhelming feeling did not leave us until we both walked out of the hallway.
So one of the most interesting things that happened the night that we investigated BJs Bayou, Allison and I were headed into the men's bathroom, and there have been stories of an entity, a female entity inside the bathroom who will come after people if they have abused their spouse and things like that. And so we really wanted to get into the bathroom and kind of see if there was a female perspective that we could confront the entity with. And it was interesting, as we entered the bathroom, we both felt very apprehensive, and as we stepped into the bathroom, it felt as if something stepped forward and came face to face with us, and it made us very nervous, and so we didn't go any further into the bathroom. And we tried to do an EVP session and talk to whatever was there blocking our way. And as we did that, we just got more and more apprehensive, and we just immediately wanted to get out of the bathroom. And so we turned at the same time and hurried down the hallway to get away. Afterwards, my arm started to burn, and I kept thinking, that's really strange. I don't remember bumping it. I don't remember anything like that happening. And it was on the underneath part of my arm. And so I kept thinking about it. But at the night of the investigation, I had on a shirt as well as a sweatshirt. And so I kept thinking, well, that's very strange. When I got home, I asked John to kind of just take a look at it because it kept burning. And upon investigation, I found that I had a large scratch on the underneath part of my arm. And so I thought that was very interesting that those things kind of all corresponded at the same time. Opening the door. So I walked in, probably 2 steps into the bathroom, about right here. It was dark, and it felt like something came towards me at the same time. And then I could feel a breath, like a little breeze across my cheek. And Allison was standing behind me, but to this side. I don't know, a kind of an apprehension kind of feeling started coming more and more, like we needed to leave. So we went into the hallway. As we went into the hallway, the hair on the back of our neck started to stand up, and then we got chills. We knew we needed to get out of the hallway, and it was almost a, not a panic feeling, but a feeling of we needed to hurry and get out of that area. And then once we hit the doorway and left the hallway, then the feeling went away. Yeah. It was like instant relief.
The next place John and I investigated was the Voodoo Lounge. Voodoo Lounge has a really neat atmosphere to it, and definitely goes with the voodoo theme. Our experiences in the Voodoo Lounge were many. John first began to see shadows towards the back of the room, and as we both were kind of keeping an eye on that area, yet still looking around the room, I began to see these shadows as well. And as the night went on, just the activity seemed to pick up more and more. We then got distinct creaks, sounds going on in there that we couldn't explain. We picked up a really good creak that was almost probably, about 3 to 5 feet away from us, that we can't explain what that came from. At one point we asked for a sign that if someone was with us, and at that very moment, John and I both smelled fresh cigarette smoke being blown into our faces. Now granted, this is a smoking lounge, and there was an old ashtray on the couch next to me with some old cigarettes in it. There's a distinct difference between an old cigarette that's been sitting around for a couple days versus fresh smoke being blown right then and there. And that was one of the highlights of my experience there at BJs Bayou.
We were in the bar, sitting on the couch, and overwhelming smell of cigarette smoke just in that one little area on the couch. We bounced around on the couch a little bit to see if we could get a smell, because obviously, it was a bar, people had been smoking in there, but none of us had been smoking in there, so it was a very overwhelming smell of cigarette smoke.
Both have been seeing shadows and hearing voices. That's you. You give us a sign that that's you making the noise. Smell that? Yeah, fresh lit cigarette.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an ashtray here by me.
Dude, it's almost like somebody blew smoke our way.
Right. Because there's an ashtray here, but there's one old cigarette that's put out, but this isn't fresh.
Yeah. And I have a bad nose.
That was, to me, plain as day. Whoa. Reach over here.
Whoa. Dude, I can feel that.
There is a cold spot right here.
Are you trying to make your presence known?
If that's you, can you...
It's gone.
Yeah. No, it's over here. If that's you, with blowing the cigarette smoke in our faces and making me cold here, can you knock on the pool table or make the Budweiser lamp move or something, just so we can know that's you. Can you keep moving around, please?
I got the movement pretty well.
I know. I mean, and I'm hearing something else. Like shuffling or something almost coming from over here still.
As I was reviewing the videotapes from BJs Bayou, I came across a really good EVP. There was a point where Brett and I were investigating the Voodoo Lounge, and we were in there, we were just kind of talking between ourselves, and a voice suddenly comes on and says, "Dance with me." The thing I really liked about this EVP is that it is obviously not Brett, because he speaks right after it, and it was obviously not me because I was further away behind the bar, and my voice has a distance to it. So whatever this voice is, it's unexplained. We have no idea where it came from or who it is. I personally believe, after reviewing it over and over again, that the voice was directing its comments towards the girls as they walked in.
The EVP we caught, Dance With Me, in the lounge was a really interesting EVP. Again, it's one of those ones that we had no clue happened at the time that we were there. It was just one of those things when we were reviewing the footage, that all of a sudden there it was. And it's really unique because we don't know who they're speaking to, if they're speaking to John or me, or if it's the girls right before they came in the lounge with us.
When I heard the Dance With Me EVP, I thought it was really neat. It's very clear, and you don't even really need headphones or anything to listen to it. It sounds like someone is very, very close to the camera, speaking into the microphone. We normally don't get EVPs on our video cameras. We usually get those on our handhelds, and so I thought that was really neat that we captured this one actually on the video camera itself. You can hear Allison and I coming through the door just after the Dance With Me EVP, and so that kind of makes it a little bit eerie. As we're entering, it's asking to dance with us.
Listening to the EVP of Dance With Me gave me goosebumps right away. Sounded very almost drunk, very heavy and desperate type of voice. I would be interested in going back just to talk to whoever that was some more to see if we could get some more communication with whoever that was. It doesn't bother me that if whatever that entity might have been wanted to dance with me. Not at all. Doesn't make me nervous. It gave me goosebumps when I first heard it, but then I wanted to hear it again and again. I think I listened to it about 3 times in a row. So no, it didn't make me nervous, but more excited than anything.
As I get closer to this is putting on.
Oh, I'm sure that is. Absolutely.
Obviously, it's a refrigerator.
That's someone's coming through the door. Boo!
Hi.
I guess it's...
got touched.
Really?
Well, it was such a,
So when Brett and I were investigating in this area towards the end of the night, we came into the bathroom, we turned on the light, and we did a little bit of investigating in here. Not much. We were only in here for a few minutes, as the tape shows. After we left here, I turned off the light and we went into the kitchen area. As we were in the kitchen area, I looked over and I noticed that the light had come back on. I knew that I had turned off the light before we left. As we were watching the bathroom, the light proceeded to turn on and off several times as we were in the kitchen. As we can see, the light switch here in the bathroom is a push button. It slides across, back and forth like this to turn the light on and off. To turn it off, it takes quite a bit of force to push it over.
The lights in the bathroom at BJs Bayou were very interesting. The way they flickered on and off, there's no explanation for it. We've checked the light switch. We don't know what it is. We were just lucky enough to have a handheld camera at that time and to be able to record that and document it. But it was really a unique experience, I thought. Is that you when you stepped on the floor?
What?
Grab like a in here.
Yeah, I've noticed that when
Could be the reflection.
The floor creaks.
The vibrations. See, so Lisa said that pilot light flared up over here.
Yeah, but
they flare up all the time, though. That's just natural gas.
Yeah, it's just the flow.
Yeah. So.
Hey, did they have a security camera?
Light.
I turned the light off when I went out.
It's an automatic sensor light.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh, so that must have been it.
It keeps on going on and off.
So this goes outside, because the light you're shining in there off and on. Bathroom light keeps coming on and off here in the men's bathroom. Are you playing with the lights?
Dude, it turned off and it turned back on.
I know, I saw that. Don't have a lot of battery on here at all, man.
So my final impressions of BJ's Bayou is, number one, it's a really cool restaurant. I really like the whole Louisiana Cajun theme. I don't think I've seen another restaurant like that in Southeast Idaho. So yeah, really cool dining experience for anyone who would go up there. As far as the paranormal goes, again, I think that it is a place that we don't fully understand. I think there are things going on in BJ's that it would probably take years of investigating to really capture and understand the patterns that are going on there. The family that lives there obviously has lived there long enough that they could tell us that there were certain times of the year that it was more active than others. They knew the different ghosts that were going through, and they had their own theories about what was going on in the building. I really enjoyed the investigation at BJ's Bayou. We had some good experiences. I think there's compelling stories there. And the family, if you ever get a chance to talk to them, they're really cool people, and they can really tell you some things that you've never heard before.